mean it. Oh, wow, okay. All right. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Okay, for our invocation, Pastor Bill Good of the Fountain Hills Presbyterian Church and Annabelle are here with us today.
Would you pray with me? God of our days and Lord of our lives, we convene here this evening to be about the work of continuing the establishment of a very special community in which your people, in all their diversity, can share their lives in equity of person and opportunity, security of home and hope, and peace of being and circumstance. We give you thanks that we can gather here in hope and freedom to be about the business of Fountain Hills. We pray now that you would be very present here among this group of leaders, that you would bring grace to their conversations and wisdom to their decisions. We ask that your purposes would be made clear to them in their deliberations, and that your will would give direction to their decisions. May the work that will be done here today honor the long tradition of visionary leadership which has so vividly characterized this community. May these men and women be mindful of the responsibilities that attend our history, but may they also be open to the possibilities that accrue to our future. May they represent all the people of Fountain Hills with justice, integrity, enthusiasm, and compassion. It is with deep thanksgiving that we gather here as people who recognize you through many different traditions. We praise you in all the diverse names by which we know you, yet we offer this prayer to you with one voice as we join together to celebrate you as the one God who is creator and ruler of us all, and say together, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Good, for joining us, and thank you, Annabelle.
Annabelle has to go ahead.
Roll call, please, Bev.
Mayor Kavanaugh,
Here.
Vice Mayor DePorter,
Here.
Councilmember Magazine,
Here.
Councilmember Yates,
Present.
Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Councilmember Toles,
Here.
Councilmember Leger.
Here.
Okay, we're going to reverse the order a little bit, and we're going to start with the report from the town manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, and for those of you who are here tonight, we want to make you aware of a special event that's going to be happening on April 26th at 6 p.m. The mayor and myself and a small delegation from the town met with Sheriff Penzone last week and his senior management staff to kind of talk about the transition over to providing sheriff services here in town. As you're probably aware, the town of Fountain Hills is the second largest of the contract municipalities that the sheriff's office provides services in. The Sheriff Penzone wishes to conduct a town hall, and the idea behind the town hall is that our citizens will have an opportunity to get to know the sheriff and also ask questions of him. It's going to be a great opportunity for people to show up and get to know the sheriff a little bit more, and also reassure the citizens of our town that the services, as we know, the excellent services that we've had in the past are going to continue under Sheriff Penzone. So again, that's 6 p.m. April 26th, which is a Wednesday, in the community center. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Grady. Now I'm going to go to Cecil. Councilman Yates is going to give us a report on MAG.
Thank you, Mayor. As the representative from Fountain Hills for Maricopa County Governments, the Domestic Violence Committee, the last few years we've been collecting information and categorizing this and trying to put it in such a form that we can put out there so when domestic violence unfortunately crosses state lines, county lines, city lines, we have a uniform way of dealing with this. It's pretty unfortunate. We've had a landmark case go through where we've been able to put together a risk assessment analysis and actually pinpoint some markers and present this to the Supreme Court, and they've accepted this. So this is pretty big for us. We're constantly gathering information. You'll hear more about this. But this will hopefully get us on the right track to put a stop to domestic violence and put it in its place. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to go to Councilman DePorter, is going to talk about his trip to Washington DC, National League of Cities.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to travel to the National League of Cities this past week and attend the conference on behalf of my employer, LinkedIn, but I certainly spent a majority of my time talking about Fountain Hills whenever I could. I addressed the youth delegate and young elected official luncheon that day, and we talked about the importance of networking, but ultimately we got a chance to talk about our communities, which was really fun to do. I think Fountain Hills, the programs that we've been talking about, the economic development that we've been having recently, really excited them, and they wanted to hear more, and I feel like I've had some of them reach out to us just to learn more. It puts us on the map on a national scale. We're not currently members of the National League of Cities, but it could be something that we look forward to in the future. Thank you.
Okay, and I just have one item under economic development. Councilman Cecil Yates, Town Manager Grady Miller, Senator Kavanaugh, and myself met with the State Land Commissioner, Lisa Atkins, and her staff to discuss the state trust land. As you know, the land went back to the state when the former owner defaulted. This land is our last large tract and is very important for the economic development of Fountain Hills. And it's our goal to create proper housing that would attract young families. And we will continue those negotiations shortly. All right, so, and I have an announcement that regular item number 3, which relates to dark skies, is moved to the April 6th meeting. We'll go to call to the public. Any
Mayor.
requests to speak? No.
No cards.
All right. Council consent agenda. We have 2 items. Can I get a motion to accept as read?
Mayor, go ahead.
And a second?
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor DePorter?
Aye.
Councilmember Magazine?
Aye.
Councilmember Leger? Councilmember Toles?
Aye.
Councilmember Yates?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Mayor 7-0.
For items 4, 5, and 6, we will have 1 staff report. And Grady, you want to start with that?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and have Mr. Rogers, our Development Services Director, go ahead and give the report.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's hearing is a request by the Copperwind Resort for rezoning to Copperwind PAD, as well as a development agreement that will allow a major renovation and expansion of the resort facilities to include up to 300 hotel rooms, additional restaurant space, and other enhanced amenities. As I know the council is very familiar with this proposal, my report is going to be a relatively quick overview of the project because the applicants who follow then will have a much more in-depth presentation, which will probably answer most of your questions. Council is being asked to review and make recommendations or review the PAD application. This is a rezoning from the R15 PUD classification. The proposed Copperwind PAD will adopt the L3 zoning classification as its base district because it's the most appropriate district that we have currently on the books. But the L3 district doesn't fully cover what's being proposed, and the proposed PAD will modify that district regulation so as to allow for up to 19 rooms per acre, up to a maximum of 300 rooms. It will allow the customary ancillary uses by right rather than requiring special use permits. It will allow building heights up to 50 feet. It will allow a 25% lot coverage. Minimum building separation would be put to 7 feet. All building setbacks would be reduced down to 20 feet. It will allow for outdoor entertainment, music, and/or speakers if they're still compliant with the town's noise ordinance. It'll allow for internal wayfinding signage and monument signs. It adopts a shared parking model. It includes off-site parking if it's within 1,500 feet and necessary, and it provides for a 15% open space requirement. In addition to the PAD, the applicant is requesting approval of a development agreement that will address a number of other issues and include a number of additional terms and conditions. And this is the brief listing of the highlights of that agreement. It vests the Copperwind PAD zoning for 10 years. It approves the phasing plan. It approves the conceptual site plan. It outlines the required traffic mitigation measures. It outlines the total parking requirements per phase. It does establish a timeline for completion. It requires a minimum of a 4-star quality hotel be on site. And it also requires a public arts contribution, among other things. This shows the site as it currently exists. Very quick run through this. It's kind of hard to see on this slide, but this is the current hotel, these two buildings. And this is the clubhouse. And then we have the tennis courts here. This is the pool area with the event lawn and the parking down through here. The project is proposed to be completed in 3 phases. This is phase 1. The current hotel rooms will be renovated, removed, replaced with a 128-room building you see here. This building will be taller than the existing buildings, up to 50 feet, and up to 5 stories on the north side of the building. That would be the side, this side facing this way. Renovations are to be done to the clubhouse, which is the center area, the current clubhouse area, and a possible skywalk-style connection to the new building. And this phase also includes a new 9,850 square foot conference facility, which is actually down on the lower end of the site, and an expanded parking area on the south end of the property. As you can see, this results in the removal of the 4 tennis courts in this area here. The rendering on the right are of the new hotel room building. This would be the new hotel looking from the north. This is from the south, or from the road, actually. This is just a close-up view of it. Phase 2 consists of a new 5-story, 60-room building, 50 feet tall again, directly south of the clubhouse. There will also be new parking areas created all through here. This is the building we're looking at right now, providing for both the hotel guests and the conference facility. This new parking will eliminate 2 more of the tennis courts. And the renderings on the right show the new building relative to both the existing clubhouse as well as the new larger hotel room building in phase 1. You should note that the site is stepping down, so the roof lines are relatively staying about the same level. Phase 3 is the most ambitious phase. It has a new 112-room hotel building being built here between the phase 2 building and the conference facility. Again, it's 50 feet tall. The building is further down the hill. The roof is proposed to be landscaped so that the view out of these buildings won't have to look at the rooftop elements of that. They'll be looking at a landscaped roof. As you can see, the parking in this area is now all gone. The driveway actually comes down under the building and into a parking garage, which will be under these 2 new tennis courts. Those tennis courts will also double as valet parking lots if and when a large event requires additional parking. Phase 3 also includes the removal of the last of the old tennis courts and the expansion of the pool area. That's in this area. It includes new casual dining, which is a new building right here next to the pool. And on the right, on the right-hand side, the bottom 2 renderings show the hotel room building and the top rendering shows the conference center with a new building in the background. After all 3 phases are complete, there will be 300 rooms, an expanded and renovated clubhouse, a new dining spot, expanded pool areas, new conference and event facility, and a parking garage, which along with the surface parking will provide 347 parking spaces on site. These are some more renderings of phase 1. On the left, we have the existing and proposed north building. Again, this is the existing, 2 small buildings. This is the north building being proposed. This is just a close-up looking towards the clubhouse. On the right, the top 2 are the 2 ends of the north building. So this is actually this end, and then this is looking into the canyon area, I call it, right here. And then the bottom shows another look at the conference facility itself, which is a single-story building on the south end of the site. Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded a recommendation to approve, and staff recommends approval as well of the Copperwind PAD and Development Agreement as presented and subject to the terms outlined in the PAD and the Development Agreement. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I'm going to ask the applicant to come up now and make a presentation.
I gotta shut mine out.
Mayor Kavanaugh, Vice Mayor DePorter, members of the council, for your records, I'm Jordan Rose with Rose Law Group here on behalf of Copperwind. With me tonight is the owner of the property, Bill Hines. Why don't you wave? I just want to introduce our team to everyone. Also with me is Mark Philp and Michael Marcoux, the architects on the project and a town resident. Don Cartier, our traffic engineer from CivTech. Ron Hilgard, our engineer from Hilgard Wilson. And Sapan Alzadi from my office, a land use attorney, and Nick Labadi, our senior planner. We're all here to answer your questions. I know that many of you attended the Planning Commission, and so I will tell you we changed our presentation to address some of those concerns, so you won't be seeing the same thing. We are really excited and wanted to publicly thank Bob and Marissa and Andrew and Grady. They have spent countless hours with us to try to move this along fast. Bill is planning to invest $100 million in this project in the next many years. And in order to keep the deal that he has, which I'll talk to you about, we need to break ground by June 1st. So these guys, your staff, Andrew, and that's the quickest lawyering I think you guys really went all out. And we didn't always agree, but we always came to a resolution, and we just really appreciate the hard work that the whole team has done. It's been a pleasure to work in
Thank you. We
Fountain Hills.
appreciate you acknowledging the staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so Bill Hines purchased the property in 2015, and over the last 20 months, he's invested $6 million to renovate the Copperwind. And if you've been up there, you've seen their spa, you've seen the restaurant flourish, and all of those things. Here's some photos. And here's the problem. Here's why we're here. There's only 32 rooms. So no matter how beautiful and how much you spend, there's only 32 rooms. So we're losing just a great opportunity to showcase this amazing property and really the beauty of Fountain Hills. And this exhibit just shows all those red dots are Scottsdale and Paradise Valley hotels that people choose to stay at because there's only 32 rooms at the Copperwind. So you can see our Copperwind is over here with the yellow star, and maybe I'll point at myself. Okay. Well, in any case, we need to draw visitors there, and that's what the hope is here. So Bill's worked tirelessly to assemble a world-class, really a dream team of architects, engineers, and designers, and I think he's done that. So we have here the dream team. And we're going to build this gold medal award-winning resort in Fountain Hills. Okay, so first, the first member of the dream team is the world-class hotelier, and that's Kimpton. And Kimpton is the largest boutique hotel chain operator in the United States. Our timeline, the reason we're here today and we need approval today is because of this deal that we're making with Kimpton and the ability to start construction. So we're so excited about that partnership and the quality. And I think I said this at the Planning Commission, and maybe I've said it to a couple of you, but they've actually made statements, and I think they made statements in front of Bob where, boy, if this thing is built and it looks like these designers have built it, we're going to feature this internationally on the top of our website, and it's that's pretty amazing. So the other world-class team member, the architects, Allen and Phelps. These are some examples of the work that they've done around the world. This is in Palm Desert. It's the Bighorn Golf Club and Spa. It was recently completed. You're all familiar probably with the Mauna Lucia in Paradise Valley, the Mountain Shadows, which just opened 2 weeks ago in Paradise Valley, the Valley Ho in Scottsdale, the Warm Springs Ranch Resort and Spa in Ketchum, Idaho, very beautiful. The Sheraton in the Canary Islands, Spain. And then there's our guy. This guy lives here in Fountain Hills, and there he is. I'm going to point him.
There he is.
I think he's
in
wearing the
flesh.
same shirt and suit jacket as his picture, so we know it's really him. So Mark Phil. So bonus, and he looks like an activist there too. See that? So, I don't know what he was active. Okay. Anyhow, it's incredible architectural design, and I'm going to have Mark come up and talk about that in just in a few minutes. So I'm not going to get into their. I won't in any way take credit for their architectural genius. I wanted to talk to you about the lot coverage. It's going to be well below the 25% that's allowed by the zoning ordinance. In fact, Phase 1 only has 9% lot coverage, Phase 2, 11.5% lot coverage, and Phase 3, 18% lot coverage. I just wanted to make you aware of that so you understand that this is really leaving a lot of open space, and certainly more than your ordinance allows. In fact, the open space is going to be twice the amount that's required by the zoning ordinance. Your zoning ordinance requires 15%. We're going to be over 30% at build out. That's at full build out. And that's just, it really feeds into their architectural design. The parking, and we have our traffic consultant here if you have detailed questions, but hopefully I can answer those in this presentation. The garage, we'll have 2 floors in ground, below ground, and then 1 above ground. So level B1 has 104 spaces, B being below ground. Level 1 has 91 spaces. Level 2, which is the above ground element, is 110 spaces. And then the top deck, the plaza deck, which would be on top of that, would be 16 spaces. And then if there's any need for an overflow parking for valet, the tennis courts will be converted to 40 valet spaces, and that's similar to some other resorts in the state and around the country. So the total garage parking area, just the garage, is 361 spaces. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how this is a surplus of parking in every single phase. Okay, so peak demand and parking is what they measured was if the hotel is entirely full, there's 300 rooms that are full, the restaurant entirely full, the event center is full going, there's a convention or something in town, and then all of the members and all of the employees are there. That's what CivTech, the traffic engineer, calls peak demand. So that's a rare occurrence. We're hopeful for Bill and for the town and for your revenues, Grady, that happens all the time, but very doubtful that it will. But in any case, let's say it happened. Here we have the chart. I think you have this in your packet. But at peak demand in Phase 1, you will have 41 extra spaces, even with that demand. In Phase 2, if everything goes like that, then you've got 22 extra spaces. And then once Phase 3 is built out, you're going to end up with 113 extra spaces. So we're not concerned, and I shouldn't say we're because I'm not a parking expert by any means, but our traffic engineer is, I think, the best in the state, and she and her team are not concerned at all with the parking. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Phase 1. Phase 1, Bob really, I think, hit on all of this, but so I'll just move through it a little bit quickly. But the expansion is to 128 guest rooms from the 32 that we have today. There will be 199 parking spaces provided. And with full valet, when full valet means that you can actually double the amount of parking because they plan it and they park together. And you'll see this at lots of resorts when they have their events. They actually go into this full valet mode and they consult with traffic consultants and they figure out how to park it effectively. And so with full valet, you can park 269, and we only need 228 spaces. So again, we have 41 extra spaces. And this includes, the Phase 1 includes on the south side of that, or on the bottom here, the banquet and meeting space. Phase 2 is an expansion to 188 guest rooms. There's 211 spaces provided. Again, full valet is 283. And we only need 261 at full capacity. So we've got 22 extra spaces. And Phase 2, it also includes an expanded facility for our membership. Phase 3 expands to our full build-out, which is 300 guest rooms, 347 parking spaces. You can park 439 with full valet. It needs 326. So I feel like I'm in math class, but in any case, we have 113 extra spaces, and we're going to be improving the amenities and the grounds at that Phase 3. The world-class Flourish restaurant will remain, and there will be no negative visual impact. This is taken from the Sunridge Golf Club entrance here, and you can see, I'm going to just sort of focus you on this, and once it's built out, this is how it looks today, and then this will be how it looks when it's built out. So you can see there's really no negative visual impact. I also wanted to show you, if you're looking from the villas right here, this is today what you're looking at. I don't know that you can really see this, but it shows you're basically looking at some tennis courts and the fence walls or screening that is in front of a tennis court, parking lot facilities. And so the future view you can see is here is going to be still towards the mountains and not blocked substantial. So let me talk to you about the huge economic benefit to the town. Upon full build out, so right now in 2016, you saw about $160,000 in sales tax, bed tax revenue to the town, and at full build out, it'll be $1.65 million. So how that works, I've kind of outlined here, but you can see that in 2020, once this is stabilized, we're projecting a $1.8 million sales and bed tax impact just from the Copperwind Resort, not from all of the other ancillary things in the town that will get business, like your golf course, your restaurants, your retailers, and all of those things, your gas stations. So I want to talk to you a little bit about all the businesses that have supported us, and I want to thank them because I know a lot of them are here in the audience. The Chamber, they took an actual vote of the Chamber in support of the project, and Bill is incredibly thankful to them and all of his friends and neighbors who have come out. Here's some of the companies in Fountain Hills who signed letters of support, and it was really an overwhelming amount of excitement about this to bring all these people here. We have nearly, I think we have more now than 60 signatures in support. We have about 30 letters submitted in support in just the last 3 weeks. And I know you've all been probably getting calls and emails additional to that. So we appreciate everything that you've done, your staff and mayor and council, your leadership. We'll take any questions, or we'll take questions after the public comes and testifies. And thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Because we have a lot of speakers, we're going to take speakers for number 4 and number 5. Did you have something else before?
Mayor, I did. I failed to mention, actually, the best part of the presentation is the architect. and he's got a flyover that will work this time because we've tested.
Okay, well,
yes. So I wanted to
let's
bring
do that
up your
first.
town resident, Mark Philp, to introduce the flyover. And I apologize how I forgot that. My goodness. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Kavanaugh, members of council. Good evening. My name is Mark Philp. I'm founding partner of Allen Philp Architects and a 9-year resident of Fountain Hills, which I'm very proud of. And we're super excited to be here, and this is going to be a project, if we all agree, a project that will become iconic, emblematic for the town of Fountain Hills, no question about it. Our firm is based in Scottsdale, and we've been in this business. We incorporated in 1976, so we're north of 40 years. Most of that time, we've been in the hospitality side of life, so to speak, and we've been involved in many of the iconic resort hotels in the valley and beyond. I think one of the most important things we can say is that this is about the team. This is everybody that's sitting out here and the collaborative effort that it takes to make this kind of thing happen. And that involves the town directly on how that works. I think the town and Copperwind are really lucky to have owners like Bill Hines and Sarah Nolan, because they have the vision, they have the passion, and most importantly, they have the means. This can happen, and that's a real critical thing. So in the spirit of collaboration, I want to introduce one of our lead people, Michael Marcoux, who is the design architect at our firm, who will walk you through the project and do this fly-through. And again, we're thrilled to be here. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. I'd like to start by centering you on the existing condition.
And who are you?
Oh,
Just
sorry.
for the record.
My name is Michael Marcoux. I'm with Alan Philp. Thank you very much for having us. So to begin, this is the existing structure and the existing conditions at the site. One of the things that we were looking at when we first started doing our iterations of the design was trying to find the best place to put any addition to the site. The thing that is truly amazing about the site is that the views are spectacular. So one of the things, when we finally went through the iterations, we went through a number of them that didn't take down Bill's existing rooms. And it wasn't until we finally took a look at the truly best part of the site, which is up here just north of the existing clubhouse, that we really, the design really came together. So this is the new proposal. What we're proposing to do is, as we mentioned before, take down the existing 32 rooms. But one of the primary goals of any hospitality project is to make the service and the support disappear. So what we are trying to do is take the new structure and anchor it to the existing clubhouse through a support node, which happens to be right here. And it ends up being the buffer between the existing structure, borders on the kitchen, and then cuts down to a below-grade support space that's existing. And that way we can have all of our laundry and all of the support and all the room service can disappear into the body of the building without affecting any of the guests. Our project is these 120 rooms, or 28 rooms. We've organized that as a reflection of the site. Up on this north side, it starts out wide at the arrival of the project, and then thins down, and we kind of like to call it the prow of the boat. We currently are taking two wings of the building, separating them to create an arroyo. We wanted to feel like it, create a space that felt like a desert condition and some of the landforms that we find out here. So our project becomes sort of an artful interpretation of the desert landscape. As far as structure goes and architecture, we're taking cues from the existing building. We're looking at the territorial design of the existing structure, and we're reinforcing that design with some battered walls, strong vertical elements that help break up the horizontal building. It also helps us screen guests from each other, so we don't have people looking into each other's showers and rooms. And then that strong vertical element also recalls the existing rooms, where each one of those rooms has a chimney, and it becomes a very dominant architectural element. As you can see from the east side, the building drops down, and as mentioned before, this side is actually 5 stories, but we're hiding that height by going down, because we're actually using the slope of the site, and so that this lower floor becomes the desert view. It's actually it's about half a story lower than the existing clubhouse. So it really becomes, the guests in those rooms have spectacular views, but they also have a really nice, engaging experience with the desert. So again, one of our main features was to spread, kind of a wishbone plan, is to take our new room wings, widen them out, again, to create a really welcoming, amazing space. One of the things that did come up while we were at the design, and it's not really shown here in this model, but directly across the street from our site is a connection into a major trail connection. So what we'd really like to do is do an outreach and create a space that we can have as a waypoint for bicyclists and hikers. And what we're planning on doing is doing a small cafe or coffee shop right here on this lower part. Have a little plaza where where bikers can stop on their way after they've made it to the pinnacle of their ride. Stop by, come in here, and eventually maybe on their way back, able to stop in and have a beer at the bar. As the space starts to pinch down, this is where this becomes the canyon space. And one of the art features that we have in the space is a stairwell, a support node, and then an elevator core that we're positioning in such a way that it looks like a bit of a mesa. Our materials palettes are reflecting that southwest flare, but we're doing it in a little bit more of a modern interpretation. So we are taking the lighter color of the existing clubhouse and running with that, but on top of that, we're interweaving the copper, and we're proposing a copper-like material that will clad the elevator core. We're also, one of the things that the entire building is experienced from our neighborhood is from below, looking up at the structure. So one of the things that we're really being conscious of is how these soffit and on the balconies as well as the inside and outside, how those are addressed. We're proposing a wood structure for that, so we won't be seeing a very white soffit, which is, I think, very important from the neighbors from both sides looking up at the building. They won't see a very stark material. And then as far as the background goes, as far as our accent material, overlaid that white stucco, we're proposing a Sujibon finish, which is actually a Japanese interpretation of taking a wood and burning it, and it caramelizes the wood itself. It becomes a very strong bug and rot resistant material. It becomes something that's very textural, and to us, it ties into the storylines of the fires we have in between the copper and the darkness of the wood, and then within the darkness of the wood, you can see the warmth of the natural wood below that. So all of those elements start to come together and really play pretty well. So that would be our guest corridor, and that area right there is that wood we're talking about. Those start to erode, become a vertical element, and then that turns into the room number where we have a copper accent. Second part of our phase 1 development is the convention space down to the southwest corner. Organizationally, we looked at a number of different locations to keep this, and then when we discovered that we wanted to pull it away from the building, it really started to work out really well. One of the things we're trying to do is protect our neighbors from any noise that may happen from weddings or events. So we're structurally turning the building putting our back towards the existing condominiums so that any activity and the views are wonderful regardless of which way you look. So our dominant exterior space will look to the south and to the west. Hopefully kind of any noise coming from there will kind of scoot over the top of our neighbors to the west, and then also we've got a buttressed our neighbors to the east. We're also structurally organizing the conference space so that it is lower towards the east and raises up to the west. So this helps for two reasons. It gives us a lot more really great views to the west, but also starts to minimize the mass of this towards our neighbors. This will be our arrival. What we're doing is proposing that we're raising the event deck up 5 feet so that as you drive in, you'll actually see the buttressing walls, our copper elevator core, and then the soffit of the great roof structure that cantilevers out. It becomes a welcoming sort of arrival sequence. And then this will eventually tie into phase 3. There's a staircase that goes all the way through, so guests from the rest of the project can filter through. So as we go up to the event deck, this would be the view from up there on our promenade, looking out of the pre-function, looking across our event lawn, and out to the spectacular views to the west. And then I'll end with a rendering of what our final project would look like. So this would be the full build-out with the elements connecting both the existing clubhouse, our Phase 1, as well as our convention space. We really like to show that it ties into the neighboring community, ties into the desert, and really what we feel could be a very amazing destination resort. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else as part of the presentation? Okay. All right, so as I said before, I know there's a lot of people who want to speak, and you'll be able to speak on item 4 or 5. So we're going to start with 4, which is consideration of Resolution 2017-07, a development agreement between the Town of Fountain Hills and Palisades Resorts, LLC, to allow the development of the Copperwind Resort with a 300-room hotel, conference facility, restaurant, and additional ancillary uses on approximately 16.5 acres located at 13225 North Eagle Ridge Drive in Fountain Hills. So why don't we get started with the speakers?
Mayor, there's numerous cards. They did not indicate which item they want to speak on. They just said Copperwind. So do you want to take the speakers all on number 4 then?
Unless anyone specifically wants to speak on number 5, I'm assuming that everybody wants to speak on number 4. Anybody who put in cards to speak? Not seeing any objection? Okay.
So with that said, we have 21 cards. They are non-speakers. They are all in support of the project. Paul Peralt, Judith Witt, Ben Witt, Melinda Stanton, Cindy Mischoff, Sarah Nolan, Seth Goldberg, Keith Chapman, Theodore Trippett, Emily Schalberg, John and Karen, they didn't put their last name, Nella Best, Jennifer Dowdry, Denise Verbeck, Jerry Verbeck, Jim Huss, Clarice Reed, Margot Sorensen, Nancy Bill, Joe Bill, and Mark Schwinnard.
Okay. And so now we'll go to those who want to speak.
And we had no speakers that wanted to speak against, or let you know that.
Okay.
13 speaker cards, one more submitted. We'll start with Sharon Morgan, followed by Christine Krass.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sharon Morgan, otherwise known as former Mayor Sharon Morgan, but I'm speaking on behalf of Fountain Hills resident Sharon Morgan. If this new concept and new project can do as much or more than what the original Copperwind has done for Fountain Hills, I'm hoping all of you will vote positive and get it on its way so they can have their groundbreaking before their due deadline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Cross, followed by Vlad Herman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
You can
My
move
name-
that down a little so we
My
can hear.
name is Christine Krass, and I'm a part-time resident here. I just speak in behalf of the great things that have already gone on at Copperwind. We've been here for 10 years. Love the old resort, even greater now that the resort has been renovated, and we are very, very excited about the possibility of a new renovation, so we're in support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Vlad Herman, followed by Don Mischief.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I hate to be the party spoiler.
Just say your name and.
Vlad Herman,
And,
resident at Cordabella.
okay, so Scottsdale. You have to say your,
Okay.
You have to say your
Scottsdale.
city,
We know
town.
nobody, yes, Scottsdale, for the record. Also, resident right on the borderline of Eagle Ridge Drive, which is also Scottsdale Road.
right,
And the only access to the resort and the only access to Adero Canyon. Ever since you approved Adero Canyon, we're trying to sell our house because of the additional traffic and noise and construction. And anybody who comes in looks at the traffic and walks away. So on behalf of our several residents on Eagle Ridge Drives, I'm strongly asking, what consideration do you give to us over there in Scottsdale, but on Eagle Ridge Drive, which are mostly impacted by the traffic, by the noise, by the only access road you have to this resort? You're putting a major resort, major hotel, right in the middle of a residential area. Adero Canyon, Cordabella, other across from us. What consideration is there? We basically don't exist. I went through the same thing when we were opposing the expansion of Adero Canyon. Yeah, you're in Scottsdale. But we pay taxes here as well. We shop here. We spend money in the restaurants here. So we would ask that there is at least some consideration for us who bought houses at the time we didn't know about the Adero Canyon extension. We didn't know about this expansion, and our property values are dropping like a rock. And it's because of only one access road to the area. Now, I spoke with Scottsdale Road Department 3 days ago. They were not aware of any traffic study. They weren't aware of the public hearing for the expansion. So I don't know if I spoke to the wrong people, but at least the ones I spoke with, they had no idea what is going on. And they're going to be responsible for supporting and maintaining that road. So again, what consideration do we have?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don Mischiff, followed by Judy Crosby.
Council and Your Honor, my name is Don Mischiff. I am a property owner in the Copperwind Villas, and I'm also the owner of Sunridge Canyon Golf Club. My prior career, I spent 33 years with Ernst & Young as managing partner of our Northeastern Ohio practices, and was heavily involved as the chamber chairman of the Greater Akron Chamber, and served on Mayor Frank Jackson's commission for the City of Cleveland Group Planning Commission and Redevelopment. First of all, I'd like to thank Bill and Sarah. Without them, I sincerely believe, being heavily involved in Copperwind since we bought Sunridge Canyon in 2010, my wife Cindy and I are back here, Copperwind would not be in existence today without Bill and Sarah. Our golf course would not be in existence today had we not made the investments in this property. We are significant investors in the city of Fountain Hills and are very passionate about it and believe in its future. And our future is right in front of us now. I can't tell you how many times people ask me, why don't you buy the resort? You bought the golf course. It's simple. I don't have the money, and I don't have the guts that this man has to pull this off. This is not a simple, no, Cecil wanted to develop it and everything too. But at the same time, I'd say to you, I cannot think of a single economic engine that can impact our entire businesses in this community. And yes, I will benefit at the golf course. I'm not here kidding anybody. But I can't think of a single economic engine that can do more to this community than the expansion of Copperwind. And I'm proud to support it. I have supported Bill. We have dealt on business matters for the last 2 years together, and a handshake means something. You're dealing with very ethical, high-level people that we are fortunate to make this type of investment. And to bring Kimpton here, right before I left the city of Cleveland, Kimpton Hotels came into my old building. We are fortunate. A lot of people don't realize they're owned by Intercontinental. And they are not franchisers. They are true operators at a high-class 4-star or 5-star level that will be fortunate. So I'll leave it with that. I'm proud to be a part of dealing with this. And I'll give you the Winston Churchill quote that I used before. Change is the necessity to survival. There is no such thing as the status quo. So I thank you, and I look forward to working with you.
All right, thank you.
Judy Crosby, followed by Tom Boyle.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the council. My name is Judy Crosby, and I've been a resident of Arizona for 33 years, and 16 of those years have been spent here in Fountain Hills, very happily. What attracted me to Fountain Hills was, of course, the beauty of our town. It's uncomparable. But also, Copperwind was a huge drawing card for myself and my family as we moved to Fountain Hills. I loved Copperwind from the onset, and it has only become a more spectacular place. We've given accolades to Bill and Sarah, and I've loved what they have done to the property so far. And the concept that they've proposed, the beauty, the architecture, will only enhance my living experience here in Fountain Hills and also attract other people to appreciate, enjoy, and spend money here. So I encourage you to support the development as it's been proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Tom Boyle, followed by Fred Croyne.
Tom Boyle, Maricopa County resident, Paradise Valley, resident for over 35 years. I'm a member at Copperwind. I'm one of the 300 members of the Copperwind community. You talked about definition of community. Copperwind is the definition of community. It's going to allow thousands of people to enjoy Fountain Hills, the top of Fountain Hills. It is the best view in Fountain Hills, probably the best view in Maricopa County. So if you vote in favor, I think you're providing the top of the hill, you're providing the definition of Fountain Hills, the definition of community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred Croyne, followed by Bart Shea.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council. My name is Fred Croyne. I'm a resident of Cortobello at 14935 East Summit Drive. We built here. When that development opened up 18 years ago, we saw the beauty of the town and the views that we were going to have. We only knew 2 people in all of Phoenix. Copperwind was the reason that we moved here. It gave us a basis for a social foundation as well as athletic facilities, and it is frankly still our reason for living where we do. And as a former partner at one of the largest management consulting firms in the country, it's a business. And a business, in order to flourish, must be successful financially. And you can't make a resort like Copperwind successful at the size it currently is. And frankly, as I've advised my business clients in the past, you must have vision and look to build what will work for the constituents. And while as a member of Copperwind, I'm concerned and have had conversations with Bill and Sarah about capacity of the gym and the facilities and parking, they have shown us to be honorable people and genuinely concerned about how the members feel about what they do. And I retain my confidence in them to do the right thing for the community and for our membership. So I suspect that the plan, as it evolves further, will satisfy our needs as members. I share my neighbors' concerns about traffic, but I look to the future of the 10-year project downstream and what it will do for our values. While short-term impact may be negative, I think the long-term impact will be outstandingly positive. So I would encourage all of you as council members to follow the recommendation of your commission and the people who speak today and support this project to your fullest extent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bart Shea, followed by Adam Mays.
Evening, Mayor, council members, Grady, Andrew, and Beth. Thanks first and foremost for your service. I know living in this town and being here by the state, Bart Shea, Goldfield Ranch, but I do a little work in Fountain Hills from time to time. We went through a lot of generation in the last few years of what makes this town and helps this town, and this council and the staff have worked diligently to promote this town, this council. This staff has worked hard to make this town viable again. We went through a lot of economic downturns for the last 8 or 10 years, and it's hard to get people to invest in towns, this size or any size. It was hard to bring Park Place, it was hard to bring anything. Looking at this project, I came to it a little bit late, but it's an absolutely outstanding project. I'm a little jealous I didn't develop it first, but it's here, and the architecture is absolutely outstanding. The staff has worked very hard to make sure it's good. Don't look at the hard numbers on it. Economically, I think it's totally viable. And like I said, I'm a little jealous I didn't get the first crack at it. But that being said, it brings another element to the town, another energy to the town that helps all of us. All economic business is hard to do anyway. All new development's hard. Redeveloping a project, repositioning a project is extremely hard. You're not starting from scratch. I think the architectural team and the owners have done an absolutely outstanding job of maintaining both the aesthetics and the viability of the product to bring it to a better economic place than it has ever been. And it's going to make a lot of money for this town, answering to just the sales tax and everything else. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to help my retail stay in business. It's going to help the entire town with tourism. The type of advertisements you're going to get with the hotel chain that's going to manage, the management team's going to do it, is phenomenal. So I'm in 100% support of this project. And I ask you tonight to please pass on to the next phase of this so they can hit their economic advisor. And once again, thank you for your service.
Okay, thanks, Bart. And I think we can find something else for you to build, so don't worry about that.
Adam Mays, followed by Diane Wells.
Mayor, council members, my name is Adam Mays. I'm a resident of Paradise Valley, and I'm also owner of A.R. Mays Construction. We're a commercial construction company based in Scottsdale, Arizona. We have been in Arizona building numerous commercial projects, as well as we have been involved in numerous resort, new construction and renovation for the past 30 years in Arizona. Specifically, I've personally been involved in the new construction of Westcourt and the Buttes, the renovation of numerous phases of the Camelback Inn, most recently the renovation and restart of Mountain Shadows, and then most recently we just finished up actually the renovation of L'Auberge in Sedona. And I am personal witness to what occurs in the community and within the surrounding businesses when these resorts are renovated and redone. And the opportunities, the success that opens up for the businesses, and the excitement that occurs within the community is just second to none. And I want to offer my undivided support to Mr. Hines, who I've known for 20 years, for the renovation and the redevelopment of Copperwind. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Diane Wells, followed by Jay Schlum.
Good evening. My name is Diane Wells, and I've been a winter resident in Fountain Hills at Copperwind Villas for 11 years now. I enjoy it very much. The major part of my enjoyment is the Copperwind Resort and Club. It's a wonderful place to be a member of, and it really has made my life very happy. Tonight, I spoke at the Planning and Zoning Commission in support of Bill Hines and Sarah Nolan and their planned expansion. I'm very pleased with it. I thought their existing renovation, the one they did in the past 2 years, is just beautiful. The facilities are wonderful. And the new plan, it's just overwhelmingly beautiful. The architecture is beautiful, and I think it will be a wonderful thing for the town. I'm speaking tonight really on behalf of a neighbor of mine who couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted to She asked me if I would read a letter to you in support of the Copperwind Club, so I'll get to that right away. Dear Mayor and Town Council, I need my glasses now. My husband and I have a prepaid engagement tonight, or I would have attended this meeting. It is therefore through this letter that I want to share my support for Bill and Sarah's endeavor to expand the Copperwind Resort and Club. I was over the moon 17 years ago when we literally walked over Scottsdale Mountain and saw Copperwind during its creation. It was a shock and awe feeling to see the resort perched on the mountainside with expansive beauty surrounding all sides. Until that day, I had not been a fan of the Phoenix area, seeing it as flat and not a particularly pretty place. My view quickly changed, and I worked on my husband to invest in a condo at Copperwind for our retreat from the Seattle rain. Now my family of 4 have been members of the Copperwind Club for 17 years, and I think we were the very first guests of the hotel as our condo completion was delayed over Thanksgiving break 1999. The owners at the time said our kids, Calla and Colt, were the first people to jump in the pool. Being from Washington, they did not mind the cooler November weather and jumped in fully clothed. This was the start of many special memories at Copperwind Resort. I share with you a little of my initial history and of our excitement and joy at Copperwind because I feel so very blessed to have a condo here and be a member of the club. Honestly, every time I walk up from my condo to the club, it makes me happy. Some days I feel the need to pinch myself. Can it really be this good? Why wouldn't I support the expansion of Copperwind Club so that more people can experience joy and fitness at our beautiful resort? Not only would the expansion be a gift to others, but I also believe it will benefit the current club members. With the expansion of the club comes more amenities and additional health, fitness, and banquet opportunities for all. I see the expansion of Copperwind as a win-win situation. Signed, Hallie Klein.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jay Schlum, followed by Amberly Dabrowski. And the last speaker will be Dory Whitrick.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. Thanks for your service. Former Mayor Jay Schlum here, former Planning and Zoning Commissioner, former council member, former chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, resident of Fountain Hills since 1977, and small business owner here. Obviously a fan of the community and a fan of Copperwind, but I'll go over my notes for you, and what's the same thing I shared with the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'm very proud that they got behind it 7-0. That's just tremendous. Copperwind Resort desires to continue their significant investment in Fountain Hills, and this is greatly appreciated. When I studied the expansion plans, I was impressed with the beautiful designs and phasing plan. Copperwind Resort and Spa, Flourish Restaurant, the Cliff Drysdale Tennis, all on site, already are important, beautiful assets to our community, and I'm excited to witness and continue to support this valuable local business. High-quality developments like Copperwind that deliver tax revenues to the town of Fountain Hills is very important to our community sustainability. When groups and individuals stay and play in Fountain Hills, they support our locally owned businesses throughout the town, and that's what we really need here. I favor working together to bring us world-class developments. It is also important that our town staff keep the red carpet rolled out, welcoming smart and quality developments and businesses into Fountain Hills, the greatest town in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amberly Dabrowski.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Town Council members and Grady and the attorney. I'm Amberly Dabrowski. I'm a resident of Fountain Hills for going on 5 years now. And I have twins that are 2, and I'd like to say that I am fully in support of this initiative. And I want to thank Bill and Sarah for everything that you guys do for our community, have committed to, and the expansion effort. I would have to say that with this exciting project, it's another thing that anchors me to the community as a young family member. I know 10 years may seem like a long time to a lot of folks. especially those unfortunate with the traffic. I get it. But everybody says with kids, you'll blink, they're going to be 20 and out the door. So they're 2. I think when they're 12, I look forward to taking them continuously to Copper Wind, whether it's for a staycation, having family, friends, birthday parties, what have you. It will now have the capacity to support those types of initiatives that I don't feel our town currently has. As I'm one of the later speakers, I had the opportunity to hear a lot of the people up here say words like global advertising, tourism, outstanding, enhancement, outreach initiatives, essence of our community. Those are things that are really exciting to me as a resident. It means that we're committed to our community and growing, moving forward, making what's best not only for the community, but for us as residents. So with that said, I do want to thank Bill and Sarah again for the vision, initiative, and guts that you guys have to do this, because not everybody could. And when do you start taking reservations? That's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amberly.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Dory Wittrig. I'm a resident of Fountain Hills. Tonight I'm wearing 3 hats. My first hat is as a former director of the Fountain Hills Theater. Suzu Henderson, the very shy, quiet wallflower back there, didn't get her speaker card in tonight. So she asked me just to mention how much Copper Wind Resort, under the leadership of Bill and Sarah, have supported the theater and really kept us above water, so to speak, and helped us out tremendously in a time of need, and we thank them for that. Another hat that I'm wearing this evening is as a real estate company owner, and I worked with the original developer, Jeffrey and Neil, on this property from the day they bought the ground. I was on the development team. I was part of that early vision and the promise of Copper Wind and what it was to bring to our community. And while it's done some of that, I would say some of that, the limitation of the 32 rooms was always a huge problem for the developers. It was always a large inhibitor. They could never spend the dollars to compete with other 4- and 5-star properties to afford what the lifestyle and the offering of the property might possibly bring. I have had the pleasure of working with Bill and Sarah, and I have to say they are honorable people, and I look forward to the vision that they brought to this, and can't wait to see that come to pass if in fact you do support it, and I hope that you do. My third hat is as the chair of Vision Fountain Hills. And this new plan checks all the boxes for everything that we have been trying to promote in the community. It builds the employment base of our community, it increases the tax base, but more importantly, or maybe not as important, but very, very importantly, is it establishes a younger vibe for our community, and we need that in Fountain Hills. And finally, it puts Fountain Hills on the map and brings attention to the natural beauty and to the recreation of our community, and I hope that you support it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dory. That's it? All right. Council members, questions for the applicant or questions for Bob? Anyone? Councilman Magazine.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question. You mentioned that Kempton...
For the applicant or Bob?
Oh, I'm sorry, the applicant.
The applicant, okay, thank you.
You mentioned that Kempton would be operating the facility. My understanding is that you don't have a formal agreement yet. Can you tell us the status of that?
Mayor and Vice Mayor, Councilman, yes, we're, this approval, hopefully, with the council is a requirement for a formal agreement. So we're well on our way to that, and they've been involved in discussions even with the town and in the presence of some of your mayor and council, too.
So,
thank you for the question.
If I could follow, so that means if there's a affirmative vote this evening, that is the last step toward an agreement with them?
Mayor and Councilman, yes, that is our plan. So, yes, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Councilman Leger?
Thank you, Mayor, if I may. Ms. Rose, thank you for your presentation. You had mentioned earlier revenue. Can you break that down by phase?
Mayor and Councilman, maybe. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull that back up. Did we have it broken down by phase? We did? Okay. All right. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I can't read that.
You can't read that? Okay, good, because I can. So let me interpret it. Okay. Here we have the first column that you're looking at. Does this work if I go like this? Oh, it does. Okay. The first column shows 2016, we had 32 rooms, and the operations had $160,000 in total sales tax revenues, which amounts to about $5,000 per room. And this also shows 2017 to have that static 32 rooms because we'll be in the building process. This shows at 300 rooms. Is that the right number? Okay. It's supposed to say, yeah, I think that's 100 rooms. Okay, at 100 rooms in 2018, which would be the build-out potential of 2018, we're showing your construction sales tax of $731,250. Sorry,
That's
yeah.
close enough.
Close enough, thanks. Okay, which is $2,438 dollars per room. And then this is showing when the 300 rooms have built out, we're showing a $1.6 million impact. So I don't have it broken down by phase. I have it broken down by 100 to 200.
Okay. Well,
or to 300.
Okay. In the future, if you could get that to us, I'd appreciate that.
Mayor and Councilman, we'll have it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you for
And
that.
that was my easy question.
Okay, great. Oh, no.
Actually, I have a laundry list of questions, but given the thorough presentation, and I'd like to commend P&Z. I think they did a tremendous job vetting the project, and most of my questions were answered through their presentation, so I appreciate that. So I'm fine.
Oh, great, thank you. I started to sweat.
You were sweating.
Right, I was, thank you.
Although I don't have a quote by Churchill.
No, me neither.
But
I can't even say 721.
But I do have one by Bob Dylan I heard on the way over tonight.
Let's hear it.
Times they are changing.
Amen, amen.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the Councilman Yates?
Absolutely. Like my fellow Clevelander, Don, I grew up in Cleveland, very involved with economic development.
Hold that against you.
Go Browns. Come on. I helped start a restaurant chain called Panini's Bar and Grill, and now we had 40 of them all in greater Cleveland. I ran the economic development for Lakewood, Ohio, and we deemed it a college town without a college. And so we reached out, cut it out. We reached out to University of Akron, made a deal, and lo and behold, the University of Akron is thriving in downtown Lakewood. And it changed the whole downtown. Now there's restaurants and lively. We've made the comment over here over the years, Fountain Hills is a resort town without a resort. And so when Bill and them took over, we started planting an ear, and I'm sure you probably had this vision anyway, but I remember even in the parking lot saying, hey, why don't you start expanding? What more can we do? It's just exciting to see these things come to fruition. Fountain Hills really is, and everyone up here probably already knows, and we've talked about it. Fountain Hills just got rated #1 beautiful town in the state of Arizona to represent other towns across the country. There's so many fun things going on. This is perfect timing. I'm so excited for you. Elaborate on your convention use. I'm real excited about that because convention space is one thing that we are somewhat short of. And so I'm excited to hear that.
Mayor and Vice Mayor, Councilman, the Kimpton community does a lot of marketing towards conventions, small and large. The Copperwind and Bill has really tried to increase their activities, community, weddings, things like this. And so that space is going to be just a very important space for both commercial businesses to come in and hold events, as well as residents and other members of, you know, the greater Phoenix area. So they're really excited about that. And you saw the beauty of the design.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Mayor, lastly, and I can't say this enough, we've talked for decades about being business friendly, and for you all to work with our staff and our support to get this kind of deal done, we finally are working at the speed of business, and I really want to thank our staff, planning and zoning, and you folks especially on getting things back and forth. This is just incredible. So just want to do a quick shout out to everybody. Thank you.
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I will echo the same thing. I just can't tell you what a great-looking project this is. I can't tell you how the staff brags about having a good, solid connection and working relationship with you, and really glad to have you in town. Thank you. I think it's a gorgeous project, and hopefully we'll see it start in June.
Councilman Tolis?
Thank you. I would concur, and congratulations on just an amazing job for your law firm, yourself, and all the involvement that you've had and reach out that you've had to me particularly in the council. I'm sure everyone. And Bill, you and your wife have done an amazing job to invest in this community. I'm extremely excited about this project. I don't think that the public understands what has happened in the last 60 days and how much this staff has worked with you and your firm and all of your team, and all of the questions and the issues that arose that have been resolved in lightning speed. So I commend our town attorney, all of our town staff, our town manager. This meeting is going extremely smooth this evening because of the fact that so much has been answered outside of this meeting that you just did an exceptional job. So congratulations. And thank you for investing and believing in Fountain Hills.
Councilman DePorter?
Okay, I am very, very excited for this. I'll just say ditto for everything my colleagues said as far as the staff and then your team as well. I want to thank Bill and his team for being good community partners, going back to even our sound madness. That was something that we were able to work through after some time. I applaud the ongoing commitment to the town you have. I just wrote a few notes. They ended up looking like gibberish because I wrote a bunch. But this really moves the needle, to Dory's point about building that sense of place in that community. I'm personally as excited about this as Bart's project. I feel like it's a considerable investment in our community to really add some impactful value through revenues and through drawing people to town. Besides the jobs and the tax revenue, this is clearly well-planned. Some of you may know I had a brief period at the Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture. This is, to me, really the idea of organic architecture and building into your the environment that's there, using the lines of the roof, the materials you use. That's all being very mindful of your community, so I thank you for that. We talked about parking. Parking, you mentioned earlier, parking's changing. People aren't driving as much. There's a thing called Uber. I call it Uber. I know it's Uber. I promise. I make that joke because
the Uberization.
The Uber. The Uber is around, and the Lyft. People are just driving less and less. It's very easy to get to commute. My only question is, I talked to Bill about it earlier. There's really no way we can work out that water slide between you and Sunridge. was the idea that I was really excited for, but that's a joke. But if you can do it, that's great. But I applaud everything you've done. Thank you.
But a zip line's possible.
See, anything is possible in Fountain Hills now, huh?
Mayor and Vice Mayor and council members, I just want to say, I work in dozens of communities across the state, and I have really never seen a community mobilize this quickly it really is, and I say that to anybody, and I think, you know, the real estate world is small, and the message that your staff and your attorney and your manager and your council and mayor, I mean, you get it done when you want to get it done and things are important to you, is huge. I can't thank them all enough, and Mayor setting that standard at the very outset of let's figure out how to get this done was pretty awesome. Thank you.
Okay, well, everybody has said probably everything that I wanted to say, and that's what happens when you go last. But I love this project from the beginning. I'm really excited about it. It's beautiful. It's going to be great for Fountain Hills. It's going to be great for our business community. I'm just really excited about it, and but I tell you, I just keep dreaming 1.6 million, and that's phenomenal.
Share the same dream.
That's phenomenal for Fountain Hills. This is going to be good for everyone here. So thank you for bringing this project forward, and June 1st, we'll make it happen. Right, Bob?
Heart palpitations.
Okay, then I'm looking for a motion. We'd
Madam
like
Mayor?
to do that.
Quick question, do we do these individually separate?
You need number 4, a motion.
Individually, and if you have amendments to the development agreement, motion first to make those amendments, then approve the resolution as amended.
Excellent. Based on that, Madam Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2017-07, a development agreement allowing the development of the Copperwind Resort with a 300-room hotel, conference facility, restaurant, additional ancillary uses on approximately 16.5 acres located at 13225 North Eagle Drive. I have one amendment to that motion. I amend Section 5 of the development agreement to require approval of the traffic study by the town engineer prior to issuance of any building permit, and to change the timing for developers' construction of improvements to the intersection of Palisades and Eagle Ridge Drive to prior to certificate of occupancy for Phase 2.
Or second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from council on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
Okay, I know we've heard from a lot of the public, but number 5, I will open a public hearing for that to receive comments on ordinance 17-04, a text amendment to the Town of Fountain Hills zoning ordinance and map. If adopted, the amendment would rezone approximately 16.5 acres at 13225 North Eagle Ridge Drive, Copperwind Resort, from R5 PUD to the Copperwind PAD zoning district. Any council discussion on that? Any speaker cards?
No further cards.
Okay. With that, I will close the public hearing, and we'll go to consideration of ordinance 17-04 as presented. Any other council discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
All right, congratulations. Thank you all for coming, and especially those who traveled here. We really appreciate you coming to Fountain Hills, and come back again to visit from Paradise Valley. Don't forget.
Spend your money. Tell them the meeting's not over yet.
Yeah,
Good job.
Great job.
to everybody.
Oh,
All right.
Wow.
Yes.
We'll let everybody clear out. Everybody think about, do you have anything on the legislature side that nobody's listening? Just sit here. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Amberly did a great job on P&Z. She had a lot of relevant questions. Unlike,
Get rid of Mike, but now it's a bummer. She goes,
all right. Sorry you didn't get your regular seat. We're gonna have to put your name on it.
But I will look at it, thank you.
Thank you for asking my questions about my cases.
exciting, good stuff. Tell all your lawyer friends. You gotta go to Fountain Hills. You gotta do business. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Exciting.
Yes,
I don't worry like I'll let everything else slide. Just kidding, just kidding.
well, we're almost done, actually.
I'm telling you.
We are almost done.
Because of the way council good job.
Efficient.
So good about it. Thank you, and I appreciate everything. Exciting.
All right, so we're going to go on with our meeting. With discussion with possible direction to staff related to a legislative bulletin. Does anyone have anything in particular? I think everybody's up on that things are moving along. Is there anything in particular that, besides saying you're in agreement with what the league is doing? Anybody have anything? Okay, if not, we've already done the manager. So the last is just, I'm going to go to Councilman DePorter, and he's going to talk about the hike for the homeless.
Thank you, Mayor. I know, I'm sorry. The mayor had me stunt double for her a couple weeks ago at the St. Joseph the Worker Hike for the Homeless. It was out at McDowell Mountain Park. It was fantastic. There were 760 hikers. They raised $83,000. The money goes directly to assist job seekers to secure quality employment. When we got up, I reminded everybody that they drove through our beautiful town. We got a lot of cheers, and I asked them to stop at Senor Taco and get a breakfast burrito on the way home. So they were very excited. I know there's another way you could go home, but it's way around the mountain. So everyone was very excited to be there. So thanks for the chance to do it.
Great, okay. And Councilman Yates, you going to tell us about your...
Absolutely. Likewise, I was the stunt double for the mayor this past Wednesday at the Rotary Luncheon at Fountain View Village. We were honoring first responders. Tremendous turnout. That was exciting. We honored MCSO, Rural Metro, Salt River Police Department, Salt River Fire Department, and the Rio Verde Fire District. And it got emotional at times, but ultimately it's thank the first responders. We don't realize how much we need them until we need them. And so when you see a first responder, just tell them thank you, and thank you for your service. So,
Okay.
thank you, Mayor.
All right, and I just have a few things about lots of stuff that was going on in Fountain Hills just in these past 2 weeks. Let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff to do here. We've been very busy. Our town hosted the Disc Golf Memorial Championships, the Mountain to Fountain 5 and 15K, and the Ragnar Relay, and all of those were held at Fountain Park. But if you weren't into that kind of exercise, you could have come out to the park to fly a kite. Once again, the annual Basant Mela Kite Festival was held in the park, brought to us by PICO, a nonprofit group. The Assistant Consul General from Pakistan, who's based in Los Angeles, was there, and he said how much he loved Fountain Hills. Basant Mela is a festival that welcomes spring, though I think we kind of skipped that one right to summer. But maybe, you didn't want any exercise at all, then you would have enjoyed the official opening of the new exhibits at the River of Time Museum. And if you didn't get a chance to stop by, it's worth a visit to see all the great changes that they've made at the museum. The community garden had its official opening. Dr. Jody Patel, the founder of the garden, thanked all the in-kind contributors and the volunteers who worked so hard and so quickly to create this dream garden, and of course our staff had a lot to do with that, so we thank them too. And I think just about all of us were there too to welcome the garden. The activity continued for me as a guest speaker at the local realtors meeting. I presented information from a seminar that I'd attended about the future and housing market, which is actually happening right here in Fountain Hills in downtown development. I used a lot of your words like urban and all that stuff.
It's urban,
yeah, it is. I'm starting to get that. Our own Presbyterian church raised $28,000 for children in Haiti, so it was my honor to go there and read a proclamation at the church, a 9 a.m. service, to acknowledge the generosity of the congregation and to congratulate them on this incredible achievement. From there, I went to Purim. This year, the theme was in Russia. People came in fur hats and dressed like Matryoshka dolls. Everyone had a great time, and it was my honor to be there to celebrate with them. It also gave John and me the opportunity to reconnect with some fellow New Yorkers. And finally, Senator Kavanaugh and I attended the annual East Valley Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. This event has grown so big over the years that it had to be held at Chandler Gilder Community College. 8 leaders of the faith community offered prayers and blessings for our country, state, cities, and towns, and the elected officials. It was an awesome experience once again this year, and wow, with everyone praying for us, it's going to continue to be a great year. And that's all I have. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And all in favor? Aye.